guys, my name's Shelby. Welcome back to House Parties.
And my name's Dan, and with Thanksgiving, one of the great holidays of America, coming up in 8 days, we got thinking about things that we could be grateful for or thankful for. So, Shelby, in the heart of Thanksgiving, what are you thinking about that you're just thankful for right now?
I'm grateful for a lot of stuff right now. I'm really grateful for my good mood. Guys, we up right now. I'm actually doing so good right now, and I'm so grateful. I'm like, every morning, I'm like, thank you, God. We are up. And I got a puppy, so I'm really grateful for the puppy. He's really cute. He does pee everywhere.
I'm thankful for the puppy as well because it's your puppy, which means when he's around, I'm like, oh, look at the puppy. And then I'm like, go home and pee in Shelby's house, not my house. So I'm thankful for the puppy. I am always thankful for my children and my wife and my family. And I got to think about this the other day. I'm thankful for my house. Sometimes as a father, as an adult man who owns a home, you can be thinking about all the things you need to fix all the time, and that can be frustrating. But I just opened my door this morning after I dropped my kids off at school, and I thought, I'm really thankful for this house. There was a time where I was praying for a house like this where I could have people over and have a bunch of students sitting in my living room watching. So I'm thankful for all that stuff, and plenty more. I'm also thankful for the mashed potatoes I'm going to eat next week and the mac and cheese I'm going to eat next week.
I'm going to say something that might upset some of y'all. Mashed potatoes is a sick food to me. Like, when I was sick, Mom was like, do you want some mashed potatoes? I don't like mashed potatoes anymore. I don't want to eat them. Last time I got mashed potatoes, I gave them to Dan, actually.
Oh, that's true. They were delicious. I thought you meant you just don't like them in general. Like, they're just gross. But I get what you're saying. They're sick food. It's like 7-Up to me. When I was growing up, I was like, oh, does your stomach hurt? Have some 7-Up.
Mm-hmm. Did it help?
Or
I don't
ginger ale.
think so. Yeah, ginger ale. Thank you.
I will say the one exception is like hand mashed potatoes. Like, I guess Thanksgiving quality. If they're not like
if you're talking about a box, we're not talking about box.
No, I'm talking about the bag.
Oh.
You know what? Middle schoolers, none of you would know about this because you guys were probably in 3rd grade. But back in the day, we had a podcast. Rest in peace. We had a podcast.
It's coming back someday.
And we talked about Thanksgiving one week. This is going on too long. I'm sorry, but I had a song, and I'll sing it for you now. It's my favorite Thanksgiving food. Green beans in my belly, yeah. Green beans in my belly, yeah. And that's your last remark about Thanksgiving. Let's get started.
I think now that we've stirred up your excitement in Thanksgiving, let's wrap up our series, What If It's True? So we've been talking about what if Jesus actually did what he said he did? What if Jesus actually meant what he said, which he said some crazy things. And then this last one we want to talk about, what if Jesus really actually has something for you? Like, what if he wants something for you? What if he wants us to actually like take action and do something and live another life, right? So the gist is, here's the truth. You weren't saved by Jesus so you can go to Chaos on Wednesday and church on Sunday. That's not where that ends. You're saved because we want to live in a way that impacts the world around us. And so that's what we're going for. And sometimes God can use us in big ways or small ways. But even sometimes the small ways, or when we feel like we don't matter that much, or we feel like, what am I going to do? I'm just a middle schooler. God can use us to really change up someone's world and maybe the world in general. And so that's what we want to talk about. And so on my mind got thinking through that story we started our series off at Rush in Mark chapter 2 with those friends, right? There's 4 friends. They find their friend who's paralyzed. They put him on a bed. They carry him up to this house. The house is packed. What should we do? Some friend has the wild idea, which we all have that friend in the friend group who's got the crazy ideas. They're like, let's go to the roof and tear a hole in the roof and lower him in. And they do, and their friend gets to meet Jesus and be healed, but forgiven of his sin. And his life, my guess is, we don't really hear about him, but his life is probably never the same. And I think that we looked at Jesus at Rush and the fact that Jesus forgave his sin and then proved that he could do it, that it's true by healing him. But I think today we want to look at more like, there were 4 friends who were like, hey, let's do something. Like, let's take action. Let's help our friend meet the one who can change his life forever. And so that's what we want to talk about a little bit today, that they weren't pastors, they weren't preachers, they weren't rabbis like back in the day. They didn't do the miracle. They just simply did something probably seemingly small. They carried their friend and then did some vandalism and tore a hole in the roof. But they helped change their friends' lives through those small actions. So that's what we want to talk about today.
So Jesus has a really famous passage. Crazy, I know. Weird thought. There's this really famous passage called the Great Commission, and it is Jesus calling all of us to be a part of the mission to lead other people to know him. And so he's not just talking to adults. He's not just talking to pastors or people that we might think are qualified, people that, can stand on a stage and speak to hundreds of people, or influencers that have a great platform. He's talking to all of us, and everyone has a part to play in this. And so that means you have a part to play in the Great Commission.
And so what we want to do is, if it's true that Jesus has something for you, that he's calling you to do something, to take action beyond Wednesday, beyond Sunday, what does that look like? And so we want to put it in your context. It looks different for me as a 33-year-old father, husband, man, and it looks different for Shelby, who's a 24-year-old woman. It looks different for you as a middle schooler. And so we want to think through, what are some ways that you can live out that mission, that you can love the people around you, that you can point them to Jesus in middle school, right? On your teams, in your neighborhoods. Like, what comes to your mind, Shelby? What do you think of when you think about that?
Shout out to 8th grade girls. We're really big on sitting with people at school this year, looking at those around you, kind of like we talked about back during This Is My Campus, actually seeing people, noticing a need, and then stepping in and filling that need and serving them. And maybe that means sitting with them and developing a relationship and being a friend that they know they can come to.
I love that. I think oftentimes the easy answer is we're like, invite them to chaos. I'm like, okay, we love that. Invite your friends to chaos for sure. But it goes so much beyond that, right? These friends didn't just tell their friend, hey man, you should try to find Jesus. No, they took action to move him there, to carry him there, right? And so I think it can involve things like not just inviting your friend to chaos, but checking in on your friends, or sending a text to the friend who things might be a little rocky at the moment, and you're like, I don't actually think I like that person that much. We're kind of diving into the high school, which is loving our ops. But what if you just send them a text that's like, hey, I'm thinking about you, I'm praying for you? What if you just shared something that you learned at chaos with someone? What if you just encourage someone? I think all of these things can help show people that there's something different about us, and we see them differently, we feel differently, and that's because of Jesus. And so I think what we want to do is we want to understand that big gestures, small gestures, serving people in ways that are incredible, or just saying hey to someone who feels unseen, those things matter. And I think you can think of them kind of like dominoes, right? Where one thing starts another thing, and eventually what we do is we're bringing light to dark places, we're bringing hope to hopeless places, and we're changing the climate of our school. You're changing St. Mary's Middle School, you're changing Camden Middle School for Jesus, just by something small, like checking in on the friend who seems down, or sitting with the person who feels alone.
All right, so our question is, how could God use you if you said yes to just doing something? You probably are thinking, saying hi to that one person at school, or sitting with someone new, or maybe just leaning over and helping someone pick up their things. We all drop stuff in the hall. Thinking those things aren't big things and they're not going to change your school, but you could be the beginning of a whole movement, and you could just be the first step that allows other people to have the courage to keep taking steps as well.
Yeah, Jesus is calling us to be a part of what he's doing in the world. That's true. And if it's true, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to take action? And so we want to take a step. And again, I know some people are going to dream big and be like, I'm going to save everyone at my school. Like, okay, love the ambition, but let's just take a step and do something, because if it's true, then what God is calling us to do is not only what's best and what's going to fulfill us the most, but he also promises that he's going to be with us the whole time, that it's not on you to change everything. It's not on me to change everything. We're just stepping into what Jesus is doing and already doing, and we just get to join him, and then he's going to do all the awesomeness, and we're just going to be faithful and take a step. And so I hope that we, as Chaos, can understand that, hey, you guys can help change your middle school for Jesus. So let's go to small group, and let's talk about what it might look like for you and for their friends around you to make a difference in our schools for Jesus.